Closer north of 50 pitches now. Tarleton trying to walk it off. Mito Perez through the left side. That'll do it. Blake Wilson comes across to score, and the Texans with a series sweep on a walk-off knock by Mito Perez. The Texans win it 4-3. You're watching Big 12 Baseball on ESPN. Midweek action tonight in Houston, Texas, as Stephen F. Austin and Houston meet for just the third time in 15 seasons. SFA, much improved under first-year head coach Matt Vandenberg, already one win shy of last year's total, while the Cougars are coming off their first-ever Big 12 Road Series victory. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at Schrader Park. I'm Will Conerly, alongside the former SFA Southpaw Kyle Rogers. A couple of starters tonight making their first start of the season.
Yeah, Blaine Zeppelin for the Jacks, getting his first start in a starting role. He started the year as a closer. Unfortunately, a little too wild in the zone. See what he can do in a clean inning to start tonight's game. And also Alex Solis for the Cougars, same thing. This is a guy they want to have in the back end of that bullpen, but walks have been the bugaboo for both these guys. See what they can do starting and setting that tone tonight.
So here in midweek action, SFA and Houston, both teams getting ready for their respective conference play. And for SFA, the offense starting to come around.
Yeah, you see the batting average up to 260 as a team. Coach Vandenberg talking about the offense and that team ERA. Both numbers he expects to improve as they go forward throughout the remainder of the 2025 campaign.
And for Houston, a tough start in Big 12 play, but they bounced back last week on the road, taking 2 of 3 at UCF.
Yeah, obviously not what you want to do being swept at home to Texas Tech to open a Big 12 play, but taking 2 of 3 in Orlando. Exactly what Coach Woody wanted to see, them turning the page from one week to the next, and now he'll see if they can keep that momentum going as they come back home.
And speaking of home, Houston opening up a 5-game homestand here tonight. Lineups coming up on the other side here on ESPN+. Senior right-hander Reed Boyette now into the ballgame in relief for Reed Boyer. So another Reed into the game, another pitcher from Nacogdoches into the game as well. One of just 3 seniors on this roster. And as we enter a new arm, we reflect on an old arm. Former Southpaw Kyle Rogers. You're wondering, why are we showing this? Well, he's our analyst tonight. Kyle, SFA, former lefty. You were in the sports info department at Houston, also SFA, so a couple-time SID, but now you're medically retired, as I understand.
Yeah, I really like that bottom line. Blew out shoulder twice, medically retired. That tells you all you need to know about my college career. It ended before it started, but I'm very appreciative of the graphic and the blast from the past, because that was a baby-faced Kyle Rogers. I have not been clean-shaven, I don't think, since.
So you play at SFA, grew up in this area, go to SFA, and then work there a little bit, and then come to Houston. So it is a nice moment for you to be a part of seeing both of these teams and programs that you have followed closely and covered. And I'm sure that's pretty cool to be able to highlight your former career as well as a Southpaw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a great time at SFA. Obviously, it didn't work out on the field for me athletically, getting injured and then ending my career. But I met my wife there. I was able to get a job there after I graduated. I worked there for several years. And working in the SID office was great. And obviously, I got to follow that passion. That's what brought me to the University of Houston.
And that is just a crazy line at the bottom. Blew it out twice. And that is something we may have to get into a little bit later on. But that is great, though, that you get to talk about your alma mater here this evening. Is that going down as an E6 likely on Dylan Hummel, but getting aboard right there for Houston, Kenneth Jimenez, as he grounds it to short.
And for Jimenez, all he does is find ways to get on base. This is taking advantage of the miscue of Hummel. You see as he's shifting over, ranging to his left, they field this ball more up the middle here of the infield. Just doesn't see it all the way into the glove, and it's able to scoot on out to center field for a leadoff base runner.
So Reed Boyette, the senior right-hander, is just one of 3 seniors for Matt Vandenberg in his first season as the head coach for SFA. A lot of newness. I mean, they only had 1 hitter really with Division I at-bats. All new lineup, Now, Boyette, familiar arm. He's in his 4th season with SFA. This is his 60th career appearance with the Jacks. So he is somewhat familiar, making his 10th appearance of the season, 18 innings under his belt, and a 7 ERA as Xavier Perez, a walk and a single tonight, has extended the hit streak to 7 games. He fouls it back. So it started with Blaine Zeppelin, went to Reed Boyer, and now Reed Boyette. Here in the bottom of the 4th, the 1-2. Misfires outside. You mentioned Xavier Perez and just the ability to put together competitive at-bats this season has really stood out.
Yeah, for Perez, this is someone that's been able to have a lot of good plate appearances. And you go back just a couple weeks ago, he had an 8 RBI performance at the beginning of this month against Rice. He was the first Cougar since Jake Stewart back in 2008 to do that in a game. That's, of course, how they took Game 1 of that Silver Glove Series, a rivalry trophy with the Rice Owls.
And he draws a 2nd consecutive walk. So he has been aboard 3 times tonight. Xavier Perez, shouldering probably the bulk of the load, so to speak, in this offense, as he already has. The leading hitter in batting average, Connor McGinnis, not in the lineup tonight. Presumably just a day off as they get ready to host the Horned Frogs for 3 games this weekend.
Yeah, and this is for both these teams. You know, some guys getting some crucial time off, whether it's injuries or just rest at this point of the season. You'd rather be your healthiest when you go back to conference play.
And Aaron Lugo, we saw it trying to drop down a bunt earlier in the ball game. Tries to do it again. Aaron Lugo coming off a big weekend, trying to have another productive at-bat.
And interesting, you know, second time we've seen him square around in the 4-hole for this Cougar lineup. And once again right here looking to potentially try to move up 2 Cougar runners into scoring position.
He's squaring around as he did in the first, had a sacrifice, then got hit in the second. So the 3rd different arm he has seen. He saw Zeppelin, saw one pitch that ended up hitting him from Reed Boyer, and now he faces Reed Boyette. And trying to drop it down again.
And execution is obviously what he's trying to get here. He's trying to execute this sack bunt situation. He was looking down to third base coach, assistant coach Clay Van Hook, who runs the offense from that coach's box. He's telling him, like, you're fine, settle down. Now he's going to step back in and see what he can do to protect with an 0-2 count.
Huge lead, and they go to second, not in time. Getting back safely was Kenny Jimenez, who has been on 3 times today, one via the air, but this was close.
Well, and you heard the Lumberjack dugout on first base all yelling, step off, when they saw Jimenez's lead get big, and he's able to get back just in time to beat that throw back.
And they do another look. 0-2 count here. 2-run ball game. Aaron Lugo trying to come through here in the cleanup spot in the order with a couple on.
And Boyette throwing over to preserve his right to step off. You get 1 disengagement per batter. So if you do it a second time in the bat, it's a charged ball to the hitter. So even though that last throw over was not a challenge throw to Hummel, his shortstop, who was standing on the bag, it's just making sure he keeps that opportunity to step off should he need it in a given at bat.
And Lugo hitting .333 on the year. You could see Boyette trying to get in on his hands. That is elevated, and it gets down. Lugo with a knock, and that may drive in a run. Play at the plate, and it's in time. A good shot from the outfield, and Jimenez gunned down at the plate.
And this is good on both sides of the baseball. When you look first at what Lugo's doing, protecting with 2 strikes, able to find a pitch that he can drive. As we take one more look at it, it's an outside pitch that he shoots just over the stretching glove of Garnica. And then here we see Kurz come up throwing, and Atkinson, who dekes, receiving that ball long enough to see Kenny Jimenez coming home, able to come in. You see him waiting, grabbing the ball, and then applying that tag to keep the runner from crossing the plate to keep us at a 3-1 ball game.
River Kurz did not need a cutoff man there. A straight shot home, and it was kind of an elevated throw, and looking up at it, but it got there pretty quickly as well. I mean, that was a cannon out from right, and he had to come a long way as well.
Yeah, he did a good job ranging over into that gap and coming up, making that throw, and then Atkinson, good job receiving to apply that tag. And then Lugo moves up to second on that throw. That's why the Cougars have 2 in scoring position, but it was a good defensive approach by Lugo at the plate, a good defensive showing by Kurz in the outfield to make that play.
And he let it eat as he guns down Jimenez at the plate. And like you said, good job by Lugo with 2 strikes, because he's somebody who has hit into a team-high 4 ground ball double plays, and with 2 strikes, perhaps in jeopardy of that. But now Cade Climby up to the plate. Driven in 19 this season. Looks for a couple more here, and he's going to have them as he drills it down the left field line. 2 come across to score, and the Cougars extend their lead. They're up 5-1 as Cade Climby notches his 5th double of the season.
And picking up his first hit of tonight's game. This is a 2-1 hitters count, and he's able to turn on this inside pitch and shooting down the line. You see Schneider doing a great job to keep that ball from going all the way into the corner, but Climby gesturing. He's got the guns blazing over there as he has plated 2 Cougars to make this a 5-1 ball game.
And he now has 5 doubles on the year, but 3 of them have come in this past week. Had a couple in the series against UCF. In the series opener, had 2. So you're starting to see more of that gap-to-gap power for the Junior College World Series MVP a season ago. After starting his career at Temple College, grew up in the Sugar Land area, then he went to Seven Lakes, then Temple, then Blinn, then Houston, but all in all, really good hitter, and he's starting to find his stride as Karsten Sabathia is up to the plate. And he pops this one up towards center. Ben Hashizaki makes the grab. Climby advances to third.
Good job for Boyette to get the second out, and then you take one more look at this. Obviously, Climby, who's staring at Clay Van Hook, the third base coach, he was cueing off him, not watching the ball as it ranged out into the outfield for Hashizaki, was able to make the play. The second he sees that ball coming down, he starts sinking into his stance, looking at Van Hook, who signals him when the catch is made so that he can move up to third.
And now Anthony Avalos comes up to the plate. Climby at third, now 6 hits in his last 5 games. Half of which are for extra bases, but this is popped up by Avalos. Garnica there at second to make the grab. The side is retired. Not before Houston adds on. They're up by 4.
Yeah, big swing right here. This is how he'll do it. You see the hustle for Climby as this ball goes all the way down into that corner. Cougar is able to put up a crooked inning. They're second of the game, and they lead by 4 through 4.